I first started experiencing hair loss in my teens. I was given a medication for my acne. I had really bad acne when I was a teenager, and the medication, one of the side effects was hair loss. And I didn't think much of it at first, but after a few months on the pill, I noticed like when I would take a shower, my hands would be full of my hair, the drains would be clogged, and I started to get worried because, prior to this I had really thick, lush hair, and I noticed as well the texture of my hair was also changing from this medication, but I had to stay on it for at least 3 months, so I finished my course. However, my hair never fully recovered after that. It never grew back to what it was, and I had mild hair loss after that, but at that point the damage had been done, and I sort of went throughout my 20s and 30s with a little bit of hair loss in the front, a little bit of thinning hair, and then I noticed in my early 30s I started getting, just as we all do, well, most guys anyways, a bit of hair loss at the crown of my head. And it was starting to get really noticeable. I would get sunburns on my head that I normally wouldn't have before. And I just started feeling less confident about myself going out. When I would comb my hair, I would try to do styles that would sort of hide the thinning as much as possible. And then eventually it got to the point where I had to cut my hair really short in order to hide it. And then I thought, well, either at this stage I go fully shaved and forget about it and live the rest of my life like this, because it doesn't look very good not shaved, or I look for other options. And so I took a really long time looking at the internet, reading articles on hair loss, looking at upcoming research. And while there were some breakthroughs here and there, there wasn't really many options. And I stumbled upon, I think, FUT, the method where they, I think, take a little incision and on the back of your head and some of those other areas, take a little strip off, harvest your hair from that, and implant it on the top of your head. And it looked like something I was sort of interested in, but I didn't really want the scarring. And then I discovered that there was a new sort of method on the block, the FUE, where they do individual little drills sort of thing, individual harvesting of the hairs, and they pull them out sort of one by one and implant it, and there's less scarring. So I thought, if I ever did have to shave my head in the future because of hair loss, I wouldn't have all these nasty scars to sort of worry about. So that's why I sort of came upon Hasson and Wong, because they're sort of leaders in that field. And I did a lot of research on Hasson and Wong. I noticed they're like in international communities. They've been in the hair loss realm for like 20 years, and so I felt, that they were a credible source, and it was worth sort of looking into coming in further for more consultation to see what options were available. So, like most people, going into something new, something that's not necessarily mainstream and you don't really hear about much, I was pretty nervous coming into the building. I didn't sleep much the night before, and I was really nervous how the whole thing was going to work, how the whole thing was going to play out. I was like, please don't let there be an earthquake, because once they harvest my hair, that's it, I'll never get it back again. Starting to think like that. But when I came into the building, I was greeted by staff, brought in. They, had me change into some scrubs. I had my quick consultation with Dr. Hasson, and he sort of discussed options, and the options that we discussed weren't necessarily what I had hoped at the time. However, I think he made me feel comfortable that the results that I would receive doing it his way, which wasn't necessarily the whole head. He said there wasn't enough, I didn't have enough big enough budget to do all of my hair. It was just the front portion. But then he said, yeah, but I think you'll be really pleased with the results, he said. I think it'll be a good step forward, and you won't have that thinning that you're really concerned about. So that was great. And then, so after we sort of figured out what my new hairline shape would look like, I was taken away into a room and asked to lie down. They did some local anesthetic, so I wouldn't feel all of the incisions they have to make, obviously. And no, it was a comfortable process. Once I was sort of in the chair and being operated on, there was very little pain. The staff were really friendly and accommodating. You know, you can get up, go to the bathroom. You had a lunch break, which was nice. I was a little bit nervous about, you know, how to sleep at night, but the office gave me like a lot of information when I left the building. They said, you know, try not to sleep on it the first night. Make some like, I don't know, put some pillows by your head so you don't lay on the surgery site. And come in for the next day, and we'll show you how to wash the wounds, how to care for it, what are the next steps. Because I think once you've got the new hair growing and you're pretty nervous, you want to protect that like a little baby for quite a while, and you're not sure how rough you should be washing it. You're not sure like the scabbing, if your hair is going to fall out, how much impact there can be, how long it's going to take, how you're going to clean it. And they give you a nice package, a sheet that goes over all of the steps, how often you're supposed to wash it, the antibiotics you're supposed to be on. I had initially planned on trying to just hide it from everybody, hiding in the shadows until my hair loss started disappearing and the new hair was growing in. Unfortunately, given, you know, you have to live your life, you gotta go to work, you gotta go out. So I'd always go out with my hat until some of the redness went away. But eventually I had to face the music and I went out there. And for the most part, early on in the process, people didn't really notice. I didn't feel much different because the hair takes so long to sort of grow in. But over time, you know, I started opening up about my procedure to folks. I think a lot of folks are really interested, especially a lot of my friends. They wanted to hear more. How was the process? How was the surgery? And yeah, I've been a little less shy talking about it now and again because I notice it's an issue that a lot of guys my age are going through. I think you notice other people's hair loss a little bit more often once you sort of become aware of your own. And you have this procedure, you start noticing that your friends are thinning a little bit, and you know, maybe this is something they might want to try as well. It's probably about 8 months into the process, my new hair was coming in, and the balding, thinning patch at the front that I was really concerned about originally and trying to style differently, I noticed that it was actually coming in, it was looking thicker. I could do the old hairstyle I used to do, brush it over, and it was starting to actually sort of fill in nice. And at that point in time, we did a family photo shoot, and I wasn't necessarily embarrassed by my photos anymore. I looked a lot better. Yeah, and I think just overall, confidence-wise, I felt better. I kind of felt like I was becoming Benjamin Button in a sense, because a lot of friends would say, "Hey, you're looking good, man. What's changed? Have you been on a diet?" And it's like, no. You look younger, so I guess hearing those kinds of comments are nice. Obviously, now that I've sort of experienced what this surgery can do, I am noticing again on the crown of my head, again, a bit more thinning occurring, so I decided, you know what, let's go for broke, let's do one last procedure, see what happens, and because it's definitely changed my life for the better.